Can I? No. Is there someone in there?
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished.
Oh!
His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield. And it too appeared.
I don't want to go on the magical starfield.
It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner.
There's still more
Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd, and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself? Believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment and my wife and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine.
Makes me want to fall asleep.
Okay.
I am okay. I'm still back here.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
That was a horrible sound. My headphones are turned up a lot.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
What?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of home.
I died!
But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there.
She stared at the body and never called the ambulance?
And then she turned and ran.
What the heck? Jerk. Did I die? Can you die in this game? Guess not. Hey, it's almost 5. I should be heading home for work, right? Heading home from work? Am I back? Did I do it wrong?
All of his co-workers were gone.
Oh, I did it wrong.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
You know what? If you're gonna do that to me, then I know exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take the door on the right.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open,
Nope,
this
door on
was
the right.
not the correct way to the meeting room, and
Nope.
Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Nope.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
I could use a soda. I really could use a
Yes,
soda.
truly a room worth admiring. It had really
Truly.
been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room.
Immaculate.
Stanley simply
Really?
stood here, drinking it all in.
This is a mess.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Nope. Oh, where am I?
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
It is. It's incredible. Do not jump from cargo lift while it is in motion. Will cause death. Penalty for misuse of cargo lift. Penalty for jumping off the cargo lift? Well, if you're dead, how is it going to penalize you?
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone
jump?
else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Who have I forgotten about?
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Who? Oh, I broke it.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this.
I broke it. Oh, I didn't break. What? What?
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha! Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something.
You're a
Come
jerk.
inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
You're a jerk. Oh, she's creepy.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley. Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature
Oh,
of his
I can't
existence.
move. I don't want to press P. Okay, I'll press P.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work.
Isn't that what we all
One
do?
might even feel sorry
live
for
now.
him, except that he's chosen this life.
No. No. I'm not doing it. Mm-mm-mm.
But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands.
It's creeping me out.
And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Oh.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
Oh. I hear a clock. I don't want to push the button.
He went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was
Man,
almost
you're
too
creeping
wonderful
out.
to behold.
What am I? I'm not doing anything. How am I preparing dinner? Well, that's a nice room.
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls.
What? I haven't been down there.
Down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions.
What?
And down another
I
was
haven't
a game
seen
with
that.
a baby.
There's a baby?
He called it
Ugh.
the Stanley Parable.
Tell me, I don't have to
It
go.
was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free.
This is really
Surely there's
depressing.
an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
Yes, I
But
love
there
you,
is no
wife.
answer. How
Oh.
could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is
Oh.
pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets. The more he forgets
Why is
which
there a-
life is the real
Why
one.
is there a door there?
And I'm trying to tell him this. That in this world, he can never be anything but an observer. That as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
You're going to sit there until I actually do something, aren't you? Can I leave?
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand
Let
that
me
every
get outta
second
here.
he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at
Who is
himself?
this man, anyway? To question nothing!
Suppose I can't. Not in the way I want him to.
I question
I
nothing.
don't make
Wow.
the rules. I
I've
simply
been
play
here
to
for
my
like
intended purpose.
6 hours.
The same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to.
Let me
I must.
out.
Perhaps, well, maybe this time you'll see. Maybe this
Let me
time.
out.
And I tried again.
Please die!
And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button. And I...
Oh. Did I die? I died. darker now than it was?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Play by your rules.
Yet there was not a single
Already
person
read all
here either.
this.
Feeling a wave of
Talk
disbelief,
less, do
Stanley decided to
unbelievably
go
amazing
up to his
work.
boss's office,
All the
hoping
time,
he might
every
find
day.
an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Ah. Oh, wow. This office is beautiful. Which way am I going? What's this? Oh, I wanted to see the executive bathroom. This is beautiful. I want this office. Oh, wow.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this.
Beautiful.
What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
No, I couldn't possibly have known that.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.